Good evening there, everyone. Is there any more people outside waiting to come in? Okay, fine. We'll make a start on this morning's session. So, welcome, everyone, to our final day at Inside Out, Jain Inside Out. It's a great pleasure to welcome you all here. The first talk is on Jain Cosmology, and our speaker for the session will be Shital Shah. Shital is a lawyer by profession and has been studying Jainism for over 30 years. His grandfather was instrumental in his interest in religion, and he follows the principles, teachings of Kanji Swami. He regularly goes on pilgrimage to Songat in Gujarat, where Kanji Swami spent about 40 years. He's an avid reader and has read a lot of original Jain scriptures. He has also been lecturing for a number of years, mainly at the Digambar Jain Mandir in Harrow. So I'm sure you're all eager to find out more about the Jain universe. So without further ado, please welcome Shital Shah.
We'll start with the Mangalacharan. Ramo Arihantaram, Ramo Siddhanam, Ramo Ayariyanam, Ramo Vajayanam, Ramo Loye Savvasaunam, Valagovinda Sihamani, Kirana Kalavaruna Charanadana Kiranam, Vimalayarane Chandam, Tihuvara Chandam Ramam Sami. So what you are about to see is what the Keval Gnani Bhagwans see. So underneath your seats, you will find a pair of Keval Gnan D glasses. So if you put them on, and then we can start our show. You will have come across 2D screen cinemas, 3D screen cinemas. Now there's talks of 4D screen cinemas, 5D experiences, but never in your life will you have experienced Keval Gnan TV cinema. So what we are seeing today, whatever the Keval Gnani Bhagwan see, you are also be seeing. So the Keval Gnani Bhagwan residing in the Siddhsila, in the Mahavide Kshetra, whatever they are seeing, you are going to see as well. એટલે થોડુંક ગુજરાતીમાં પણ આવશે ત્યારે ભાવ પ્રધાની હોય ને ત્યારે ઇંગ્લિશમાં જ બોલવું બહુ ફાવે નહીં એટલે થોડુંક વચમાં ગુજરાતીમાં પણ કહેતો જઈશ એટલે પ્રસન્ન ચિત્તથી સાંભળજો કેમ કે જે વાત અહીં જોવામાં આવે છે એ કેવલ જ્ઞાની ભગવાન અને તમારું જેટલું પણ જ્ઞાન છે બંનેમાં સમાનતા થવાની છે એટલે પ્રસન્ન ચિત્ત થઈને સાંભળજો. So the topic today is Jain Cosmology. Cosmos simply means the universe or everything that exists everywhere. It comes from the Greek word cosmos, that's spelled K-O-S-M-O-S by the way, and this means order, good order, government, or the universe. In Jainism, it is the Arihant Bhagwans, the omniscient lords who have complete knowledge. And it is they who have described the shape and the functioning of the universe in their teachings, which have formed the basis of the Jain scriptures. There are two main Jain scriptures that deal with the cosmos in its entirety in a very complex manner, in a lot of detail. And these two scriptures are, the first one is called the Tiloi Pannati. This is the Tiloi Pannati. Tiloi Pannati means the treatise of the three worlds, Tiloi Pannati. And this was written by Yati Rashab Acharya. So Yati Rashab Acharya wrote the Tiloi Pannati in Prakrit language, and he wrote it in 143 AD to 173 AD, so just under 2000 years ago. बोलिए यति ऋषभ आचार्य देवनो जय हो. You have to say Jai Ho with your heart, with your soul. Why? Because if you say Jai Ho with your heart, with all your energy, you will inherit good deeds. You will build up good karmas. So say it. Say it. Bolwu mafat che. The second book The second book is called Triloksar. This is a Triloksar. Triloksar means essence of the three worlds. And this was written by Nemichand Siddhanta Chakravarti around 981 AD, so just over 1,000 years ago. Boliye Nemichand Siddhant Chakravarti Devano Jai Ho. That's a lot better. You're such a nice audience. Such a nice audience. Wonderful to have you guys. There is a vast amount of material in the Jain scriptures that, in fact, so there are many other books as well that deal with the Jain cosmos, but not in so much detail. There are others like the Tattvat Sutra, written by Umaswati, and another one, Kartikeya Nupreksha, written by Kartikeya Muniraj. So those are other scriptures, and there are various other scriptures as well, but these are the two main ones. This is, in fact, only volume one. There's 2 volumes of this, so you will see how much detail there is. And if you turn to these pages, it contains a lot of mathematical calculations as well. It's phenomenal mathematical calculations. They did pi 2,000 years ago. They did pi. They did the logarithm theory. They did huge numbers, which you will not be able to comprehend. So huge numbers, infinite numbers. They were superb mathematicians. When you read the cosmology, the Jain cosmology, what we are learning today, current mathematics, is nothing compared to the mathematics that you find in the old scriptures. So that's why it's so important. If you want to learn maths, read the old scriptures. So there's a vast amount of material in the Jain scriptures that detail the cosmos with lots of mathematical calculations, and it is no exaggeration to say that to study this topic in detail takes several years, as it is both complex and intricate. We will only deal with the very basics of this subject in outline form only. Cosmology is a fundamental part of Jainism's teachings and provides a framework for understanding the universe and human existence within it. Jains believe the universe to be an uncreated entity that has existed since infinite time. So there is no beginning to the Jain cosmos, and neither does the Jain cosmos have an end. So it is beginningless, beginningless and endless. So the shape of the universe is stated to be that of a man standing with his legs apart and with his hands resting on his waist. If I take you to the chart, this is, so I'll take you to the second chart. People will have come across this chart, yes? Will have come across this chart? Yes. When I ask you a question, don't just say yes, say Haji, Haji. Thodik aapne Sanskrit to jarwa area, what will you say? Haji. Very good. Such a obedient audience. Marvelous. So this is the shape of the universe. In fact, this is the front shape of what is known as the lok. So the front shape of the lok, which you will have seen. So it's the shape of a man standing with his legs apart and with his hands resting on his waist. So if I just show you this, so it's narrow at the top here, then it increases in width at both ends. So this is the Brahm lok here, so it increases in width here. Then again, it narrows here at both ends. Yeah, you can see yeah, you can, yeah. So it narrows at both ends here. So it becomes narrowest at what is known as the middle lok. So in fact, the lok is divided into 3 realms, the upper realm, the middle realm, and the lower realm. I'll show that in a second. And then the width again increases so that it's at its widest point right at the bottom. So this is just a very, very technical diagram. So let me show you a much more interesting one. So of the man standing with his hands on his waist and legs apart. So this is it. This is quite an old one. It's a beautiful, beautiful picture. And there is, in fact, another one as well, which you'll see upstairs in the one of the exhibitions. Contains this one. So this is one which is upstairs. So you'll probably take a much better photograph from upstairs in the exhibition. If you haven't been to the exhibition, please go and see it. It's a wonderful exhibition as well there. So, so let's go back actually to the. So this is the man standing with his hands on his waist. But the log, as I've said, is not two-dimensional. This is only a two-dimensional diagram. The log is in fact three-dimensional. And if I turn to chart number 1, you'll see the three-dimensional log. You'll see it's got a width which is different. So the width varies, the front width varies, but the height is the height here. The height is the same throughout, and because it's 3D or Keval Gnandi, it's you will see that it also has depth, and the depth is the same throughout as well. So how do the Jains define the cosmos? So Vishwa kone kahe che. Vishwa means the cosmos universe. So Vishwa kone kahe che. Cha dravyana samu ene Vishwa kahe che. So what is the definition of the cosmos? So the Jains say, the scriptures say, the collection of the 6 substances is the cosmos or the universe. What are these 6 substances? So soul, matter, substance that assists motion, substance that assists being still, space, and time. So, soul, matter, substance that assists with motion, substance that assists with being still, space, and time. So these are the 6 substances, and all 6 substances exist within the log, which you see here. So this log is made up of 6 substances, but that is not the entire cosmos. That is not the entire cosmos, because the space surrounding it is also part of the cosmos. Outside of the log, there is only one substance, which is space. So the log has all 6 substances inside it, and outside it, there's only one substance, which is known as Akash. So the Akash exists only outside the log area. So this area here is known as a log. Everything outside is known as alok. So log and alok. So the log plus the alok make up the cosmos. And space has no boundaries. Space is infinite. And as it is also a substance, the cosmos encompasses both the log and the alok. The Jain scriptures in fact say that this log is right at the center of the cosmos. The cosmos again encompasses both the log and the alok. Now let's take a look at the dimensions of the log. The dimensions of this is very basic mathematics. If you've studied in year 3 or year 4 in your before primary, in your nursery, you should be able to pick up this math. Very, very easy. Let's keep it very simple. So the dimensions of the log. The dimensions of the log is measured in a unit known as Raju. So Raju is a unit to measure space or distance. And one Raju has countless miles within it. So this log is in fact divided into 3 realms. You'll see this line here. So this is in fact the middle log, a bit like the Lord of the Rings, really. The Middle Earth and the Lower Earth, and So this is the middle log. The area around here, all this area at the top, is known as the upper log, and the area at the bottom is known as the lower log. So it's divided into 3 logs. So let's go back to the measurement. The measurement is what? Raju. Very nice. Very good. So if you look at the frontal view, in fact, let me take you to chart number 1 again. So this is the frontal view. So the measurement is 1 Raju here, right at the top. 1 Raju here. Then it increases in width at both ends. So near the Brahm log, it becomes 5 Rajus in width. Then again, it decreases, both sides decrease here, so that by the time you come to the middle log, it becomes 1 Raju again, and then the width increases so that it becomes 7 Rajus. The widest point is at the bottom here, so it's 7 Rajus right at the bottom. So that's so the width differs. The width differs. If I now take you back to the 3-dimensional log, so we've seen these dimensions. This was how many Rajus here at the top? 1, and here 5. Very nice. Here and here. and the total height of the lok is 14 rajus. So it's 14 rajus throughout. That's the height. And as the lok is three-dimensional, it has a depth as well. So it runs from the north to the south, and the dimensions from the north to the south is the same throughout, and it is 7 rajus. So the total dimensions, the total area covered by the lok, there's detailed calculations as to how you arrive at the total area in the scriptures. So it comes to 343 cubic rajus, because the lok is three-dimensional. So the area we have to convert in cubes, so it becomes 343 cubic rajus. Now let's have a look at what different types of souls there are and where they reside. So souls can be divided into 5 categories. There are the 1 sense souls, the 2 sense souls, the 3 sense souls, the 4 sense souls, and the 5 sense souls. 1 sense souls, 1 sense beings are vegetation, water, fire, air, and earth. The 2 sense souls are earthworms, seashells. 3 sense souls are ants, termites, and the like. The 4 sense souls are moths, butterflies, bees. The 5 sense souls are human, also celestial beings, devgati, devo, they are 5 sense souls as well. And narkis, the hellish beings, the fiendish beings, they are also 5 sense souls. So let's see where these souls reside. Humans and the animal has 1 sense, 2 sense, 3 sense, 4 sense, and you have cows, you have elephants, you have horses, and they are all 5-sensed animals. So if we just turn to this chart, let's see where these different types of souls with different number of senses, where they reside. So the 1 sense souls reside everywhere in the lok area. So there is no one single space where the 1 sense souls do not reside. So they cover the whole 343, what's known as Ghana Raju. Ghan means cube, cubic Rajus. So they cover the whole of the area. The whole of this area is covered by 1 sense souls. The 2 sense souls, the 3 sense souls, the 4 sense beings, the 5 sense souls, they only reside within a small area of this lok. Not throughout the lok, but only in a very specific area. And this area is known as the Thrust Nali. Together? Thrust, very good. Thrust Nali. What is the Thrust Nali? Thrust means the 2 sense, the 3 sense, the 4 sense, the 5 sense. These are known as Thrust Jiv, Thrust souls. So Thrust and Nali means column. Nali means column. So you'll see a column that runs from the top here to the bottom in blue. You can see it? Yes? Haji. So this column in blue is the Thrust Nali. And this is where the 2 sense to the 5 sense souls reside. 1 sense souls also reside there, because as we've said, the 1 sense souls reside everywhere. So right at the top here, you'll see this column, right, this column. So within the Thrust Nali, right at the top, in the upper lok, there the celestial beings reside. Celestial beings also have residency in the middle lok as well, in this area here. So this area, in fact, is 1 Raju by 1 Raju. So we've seen the dimension from here to here, running from north to south, was how many Rajus? 7 Rajus. So if you leave 3 Rajus from this end, 3 Rajus from this end, you'll come to an area in the center, which is 1 Raju by 1 Raju, and the total height of this Thrust Nali is 14 Rajus. So you come to an area which is 1 Raju by 1 Raju and 14 Rajus. So at the top here live the celestial beings. Here in the middle, celestial beings also have residency in the middle lok as well, and they also have residency in the upper part of the lower lok as well. The hellish beings, the fiendish beings, the narkis, they reside in the lower lok only. The 2-sensed animals, 3-sensed animals, 4-sensed animals, 5-sensed animals, they reside here. You'll see some circles here. You see the circles here? So this is the middle lok. This is this is actually called Madhyalok. Madhyalok means the middle lok. So the 2 sense to 5 sense beings reside here in this area here. And the humans also reside in this area here. So now let's take a look at where we reside. I mean, everyone wants to know where are our 7 continents, where are our 5 oceans. So let's now take a look at where we reside. We of course reside in the Trasnali, because humans are 5 sense beings. So this Trasnali is 1 Raju by 1 Raju. So if we zoom in on this area, so we're looking at this specific area only, which is 1 Raju by 1 Raju square, and this area contains countless oceans and countless islands, and they all set up, the formation of these islands and the oceans is all ring-shaped like the rings of Saturn. So if we zoom in on this area, this is what it looks like. Tiryak lok. It's also known as Madhya lok or middle lok, is also known in the scriptures as Tiryak lok. If you see right in the middle, you'll see a green dot. You can see the green dot here? Very good. Wow, amazing. You're an amazing audience. Wow. So so there's an island right in the center, and you'll see it's surrounded by a blue ring. So that blue ring is an ocean. So surrounding this ocean is another island, which is in green. So the greens depict an island, blues depict oceans. So the formation is right at the center. There's an island surrounded by an ocean. This is surrounded by an island. This is surrounded by an ocean. This is surrounded by an island, and so on. So in this formation, there are countless islands and there's countless oceans. So this island right in the middle, it is known as Jambu Dweep. Dweep means island. So this Jambu Dweep, so we have Jambu Dweep right in the middle. Then we have an ocean. Jambu Dweep is unique in its shape, in that Jambu Dweep is in the shape of a disc or a plate, and the rest of the islands and the oceans, they are all bangle shaped or ring shaped like the rings of Saturn. So Jambu Dweep is plate shaped. So we have Jambu Dweep right in the middle here. Then this is surrounded by a ring, a blue ring. That's our first ocean. That ocean is known as Lavan Samudra. So try and remember these islands. So I'm just asking you to remember the first 2 oceans and the first 3 islands. That's what you have to remember. Nothing else, because that's what we will be focusing on. So the island in the center was Jambu Dweep. So that's surrounded by the first ocean, known as Lavan Samudra. Lavan means salt, and Samudra means oceans. So that's the Lavan Samudra. Surrounding that is another island, so the second island, and that is known as Dhat Ki Khand Dweep. Dhat Ki Khand Dweep. Say it. Dhat Ki Khand Dweep. Very nice. You're an amazing audience. And that is surrounded by the second ocean, and that second ocean is Kalo Dadi Samudra. So we have Jambu Dweep in the center, then we have Lavan Samudra, then we have Dhat Ki Khand Dweep, then we have Kalo Dadi Samudra, then after that we have Pushkar Dweep. So that's the formation of the islands. So just to remind you where we are. So this is where we are. We are right at the center here in this area, which is 1 Raju by 1 Raju. So if I take you back to this drawing. So we reside in the island of Jambu Dweep. So where is our 7 continents and 5 oceans? So the current modern world, the 7 continents, the 5 oceans, they are right in the center of the cosmos. I mean, you'll see, if I just take you back, we are right at the center of the cosmos. There are millions, there are countless islands and oceans, but we are right at the center in the island of Jambu Dweep. So this is the island of Jambu Dweep in the center. So if we zoom in on this island, then this is what it will look like. This is the island of Jambu Dweep. And where do we reside? So we reside, you'll see this piece of land in yellow at the bottom. Can you see it? Yes. Very good. So this piece of land here in yellow, This is where we reside. This is where our 7 continents and 5 oceans are. And this piece of land here is known as Bharat Kshetra. Bharat Kshetra. So, because we're all interested in where we live, right? So let's just widen Bharat Kshetra, make it bigger. So let's zoom in on this area. So if we zoom in on this area, this is what Bharat Kshetra looks like. You'll see right at the top a mountain range here, right at the top here. This mountain range is known as Himvan Parvat. Himvan Parvat. And in the middle of that mountain, there is a big lake. That big lake is called Padmadraha. Padmadraha. So that big lake, and there's 2 rivers flowing from that lake. One river flows towards the east, flows eastwards. So you'll see the river here flowing east, and then it takes a turn here, and then it flows towards the south here, and then it discharges itself into the Lavan Samudra. Yes? Did you get the concept? Very nice, very amazing. So this is the water being discharged into the Lavan Samudra here. So this river is in fact, this river is called the Ganga River, what we know as the Ganges. The Ganges. So this is the Ganges. And there is another river that flows westwards. And so this river flowing westwards, it takes a turn here. Then again, it flows it flows towards the south, and its waters are discharged into the Lavan Samudra. And this river is known as the Sindhu River. And you'll also see a mountain range right in the center here. This is the mountain range. This mountain range is known as Vijayad Parvat. Vijayad Parvat. So because of these 2 rivers and the mountain range in between, the island of Bharat Kshetra is divided into 6 segments. So you'll see the 6 segments here. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this segment here, the biggest segment which you'll see at the bottom, that is known as the Arya Khand. So we are living in the Arya Khand. So our 7 continents, our 5 oceans is in the Arya Khand. The current known world is only a small part of Arya Khand. And the rest of the 5 segments, 1, 2, 3, 4 here, these are known as the Mlech Khand. The Mlech Khand. You will have heard in the Jain scriptures stories about Bharat Chakravarti, the son of Sri Rishabdev. He had conquered Chha Khand. He had conquered 6 Khands. And these are the 6 Khands that he had conquered. So 1 here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So after he had conquered these 6 segments, he then goes to, there's a brown circle here. This is a mountain called Vrashabgiri Parvat. Vrashabgiri Parvat is important because after he has conquered these 6 lands, the 6 segments, he writes his name in the mountain here. So he inscribes his name there. So that's the story of Bharat Chakravarti there. Okay, so let's go back to Jambudweep. So we were here, Bharat Kshetra. There's a similar Kshetra here. This is called Airavat Kshetra in the north. So the Airavat Kshetra, that also is divided into 6. So the layout of Airavat Kshetra is very similar to Bharat Kshetra. And you will also see lands here in brown. So there's one land here, and there's one piece of land here. So these are the Videk Kshetras. So this is so in total there are 5 Videk Kshetras, and Jambudweep has 1 Videk Kshetra. I'll tell you where the others are shortly. But the Videk Kshetra of Jambudweep is split into 2. This is the eastern Videk Kshetra of Jambudweep, and this is the western Videk Kshetra of Jambudweep. There's a big, humongous mountain right in the middle here, known as Sumeru Parvat. Sumeru Parvat is right in the center here, and there is a river that flows towards the east here, and it discharges itself into the Lavan Samudra, and hence, as a result of that river, this eastern Videk Kshetra is split into two. So one segment in the north and one segment in the south. Similarly, there is another river that flows from Sumeru, and it heads westwards, and again it discharges itself into the Lavan Samudra, and hence the western Videk Kshetra is also split into two. So here. So in total there are 4 segments of Videk Kshetra in the land of Jambudip. Why these places are important is because the current 20 living Tirthankars reside in these Videk Kshetras. So 4 reside here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Our first 4 living Tirthankars reside here. So Simandar Bhagwan resides here. Bolo Simandar Bhagwan no. You can do better than that. There's a marathon happening today in London. So let them hear your Jai Ho. Simandar Bhagwan no. That's so much better. So Simandar Bhagwan resides here. Then at the bottom, Simandar, then Yugmandar Bhagwan resides at the bottom here. Yugmandar Bhagwan no. Very nice. Then Bahu Bhagwan resides here in the south. So Simandar, Yugmandar, Bahu. Bahu Bhagwan no. Very nice. And then Subahu Bhagwan resides here in this Videk Kshetra here. Subahu Bhagwan no. Very nice. Perfect. So this is Jambudip. Let me take you to another chart. So this chart shows you, so we are right at the center here. This is where Jambudip was, and this is the Lavan Samudra. Then this second island is known as the Datki Khandweep, and that Datki Khandweep in fact has 2 Videk Kshetras, one on the east and one on the west here. So the island of so this Datki Khandweep, the Videk Kshetra on the east, that is divided into 4 segments, and each segment contains 1 living Tirthankar. So 4 Tirthankars reside here. Then there's also a Videk Kshetra in the west side that is also divided into 4 sections, 4 segments, and 4 more living Tirthankars reside here. So how many have we counted so far?
8.
Huh? No. 12. So we saw 4 here, 4 more here, 4 more here. Yes? We've counted 4, 8, 12. So then there is another ocean that surrounds Datki Khandweep. This is called Kalodari Samudra. And then we come to the Pushkar Dweep. Pushkar Dweep also has 2 Videk Kshetras, one in the east again and one in the west. Both are divided into 4 segments. So 4 more Tirthankars reside here. 4 more Tirthankars reside here. So how many have you seen so far now? 20. Bole vis viharman Bhagavan no. So nice, brilliant. Okay, so that's how. So in total there are 5 Videk Kshetras. 5 Videk Kshetras. Let me count them. So it's 1 here, 2, 1 here in Jambudip. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 Videk Kshetras, and each Videk Kshetra has 4 Tirthankars. So in total, there are 20 living gods that currently reside in Videk Kshetra. Now let's have a look at where humans. How am I doing for time? This time. Okay. Let's have a look at where humans reside. Humans. So in fact, let me take you to the chart right at the beginning. This is a look again. So humans obviously reside in the Trasnali, and again they reside in this middle lok here. But even in this middle lok, they do not occupy the whole of the middle lok. They only occupy a very small amount of space within the middle lok. The space they occupy, they only occupy the first 2.5 islands and the 2 oceans right at the center. So if we look at the chart where the humans reside, let me take you to the chart. This is the chart that shows where the humans reside. So humans reside obviously in the first island, which was Jambudweep. Humans also reside in the Lavan Samudra, because Lavan Samudra has small islands as well where humans can reside. Humans also reside in the Dhatkikan Dweep. Humans also reside in Kalodari Samudra, and also the third island, Pushkar Dweep. So that's where humans reside. So let's now try and measure the area where humans reside. So what we are trying to measure is the diameter from this side to this side. So what is the diameter from this side to this side? We have already seen one unit that measures space or distance, which was Raju. Wow, such an attentive audience. And there is another measurement which is known as Yojan. So to measure the distance, the diameter of these the islands in the oceans where humans reside, this is measured in another unit known as Yojan, and 1 Yojan is equal to 4,000 miles. So 1 Yojan is equal to 4,000 miles. So again, if we turn to the map of Jambudweep, so this is Jambudweep. So the total diameter here of Jambudweep from one end to the other is said to be 100,000 yojans. 100,000 yojans. So, so if we then turn back, the width of each ocean and island that surrounds Jambudweep is double that of the inner island or ocean at each end. Let me say that again, once again. The width of each ocean and island that surrounds Jambudweep is double that of the inner island or the ocean at each end. So if Jambudweep is 100,000 yojans, the Lavan Samudra at each end, so the eastern end and the western end, will be how many yojans? 200,000. So if we calculate the total diameter of Lavan Samudra, including Jambudweep, it will be 200,000 here at the western end, then 100,000, which is Jambudweep, and again 200,000 towards the east, the width in the east. So the total would be 500,000 yojans. So it becomes double every single time. So 100,000 in the middle, 200,000 at each end. Then we come to the island of Dhatkikan Dweep. This is 200,000. So the width here is how much? How many yojans? 400,000 here and 400,000 yojans here. So it's 400,000 there. So then we come to the Kalodari Samudra. So the width here will be 800,000 yojans here and 800,000 yojans here. Then we come to the island of Pushkar. So the width of Pushkar is how many yojans? 16 what? 1.6 million, yeah? No? No. 1,600,000, isn't that one? No? 1.6 million, right? Yeah, 1.6 million. So the total width here is 1.6 million, and the total width here is also 1.6 million. But humans only reside in the first half of this island, not in the entirety of the island, only the first inner half. You will see a mountain range that goes all the way around here, that divides this island in two. This island, this mountain range is known as the Manushottar Parvat. Manushottar Parvat. So this is the boundary beyond which humans cannot go or travel. Humans' residency and travel is only restricted to the inner side, of the Manushottar Parvat, and not on the outer side. So for our calculation purposes, we cannot take the whole width of 1.6 million into account. We only take half that width, which is 800,000. Yeah, so it's 800,000 yojans at both ends. 800,000 yojans here and 800,000 yojans here. So who has done their maths? So what is the total diameter from this end to this end? So let's calculate. So it's 800,000 yojans here, then 800,000 yojans here, then 400,000 yojans here, then 200,000 yojans here, then 100,000 in the middle, then again 200, then 400, then 800, then 800. Huh? Some people are failing in the maths. This is basic math. So if you give me the wrong answer, so I need to question. When have you attended school? School માં તમે ગયા છો? School માં તમારા teacher તમને શું શીખાડ્યું? પૂછવું પડશે. So the total is 4.5 million. 4.5 million. 4.5 million Rajus. Sorry, yojans. Yes, 4.5 million yojans. Eh? Sorry? Sumagiyata. Very good. Very good. Very good. યોજના શીખવાડે ને એટલે જ કહું છું પહેલાં તમે છે ને જૈન મેથ શીખશો ને તમે સ્કૂલે જવાની જરૂર નહીં પડે. જૈનમાં શું નથી કે તમે સ્કૂલમાં જવું પડે. જૈન આગમમાં બધું ભર્યું પડ્યું છે. Of course, definitely. So we've seen the Manushya Lok, the area where the humans reside, is 4.5 million yojans. So directly above this, at the top of the cosmos, you will see a crescent-shaped piece of land, yes? Right at the top here. That is, in fact, the Siddhasila, the abode of the liberated souls. Only humans can achieve liberation. This is achieved through introspection and meditation with the assistance of vows and penances, and when liberation is achieved, the soul departs from the body, making its way upwards towards the Siddhashila. There, the soul remains in a state of infinite bliss with countless other such liberated souls. In its worldly existence, although the soul's knowledge is clouded and incomplete, when it reaches liberation, this knowledge awakens completely from within to reach the state of omniscience, of Kevalgnan. The omniscient one sees everything there is to see in all three time frames, the past, the present, and the future. The very essence of Jainism is indeed to end the suffering of birth, death, and rebirth through contemplation and meditation and achieve liberation. The soul is eternal. Its suffering will not end until it attains liberation. This journey involves the practice of the three jewels of Jainism. The three jewels being? Very nice. Samyak darshan, samyak gyan, samyak charitra. Right faith, right knowledge, and right conduct. By cultivating these three jewels, individuals can develop the spiritual qualities necessary to break free from the cycle of birth and death and achieve liberation. The three forms of being, Narkis, Devs, and Tiryanj, they can only achieve liberation by being born as a human first. For 5 minutes still. I'm trying to finish just on time, so there's no answer. So there's no time for questions. So in the upper lock here, this is divided into different abodes, 1, 2, 3, 4. You'll see the numbering here. So there the celestial beings reside. They live in a state of perpetual happiness and luxury. So there are 16 devloks. Then above that, there are 9 Greyvak. Above that, there is 9 Anudish. Above that, there is 5 Anuttara abodes. And the liberated souls reside above the 5 Anuttara, right at the apex. And the lower lock consists of 7 hells, which you'll see here. And the hellish beings reside in these hells. They live in a state of perpetual suffering and misery. By understanding and practicing the teachings of Jain cosmology, individuals can work towards achieving liberation and breaking from the cycle of suffering. In Chardala, stanza 1, Daulat Ramji says, Tini bhuvana me sar vitaraga vijnanata Shiva Swarupa Shivakar Namahu Triyoga Samharikar. The essence of the three worlds is passionless knowledge. This bestows extreme happiness and leads to liberation. That is why, with utmost care, I bow down to this omniscient knowledge with my mind, speech, and body. Thank you very much. can I just try and preempt some of the questions? I know what questions I'm going to get. The usual questions that you get is how do you relate this to the modern world, modern astronomy? Well, let me finish this first. So, and then I'll take your question. So that's one of the common questions. The second common question is, you've seen the Earth is flat, but modern science believes this to be round. The third question is, have we been to the moon or not? Those are the three questions I normally get. And so the current astronomers, I mean, they're essentially researchers or scientists. So my definition of scientist is a scientist is a person whose research is never done. They change their analysis, their conclusion every 5 years. But this knowledge is complete knowledge, keval gnan. And je keval gnani Bhagwan che, keva che, vitrag che, no passions. So this is true, perfect, complete knowledge. જે સાયન્ટિસ્ટ હોય ને, સાયન્ટિસ્ટ જ્યારે પેપર લખે ને, 2 બોટલ દારૂ પીએ પછી પેપર લખે, તો તમે કોને માનશો? સર્વજ્ઞ વિતરાગ ભગવાન દેવને માનશો કે એવા સાયન્ટિસ્ટને માનશો? કોને માનશો? હા, બહુ સરસ. Thank you. Shah, can I take your question?
You want me to stand up?
Yeah, so that people can see.
But I can hold it, otherwise I'm not comfortable to speak. Thank you very much. It was wonderful, very good presentation. Can we go back to where Ganga, you showed Ganga?
Yeah, let me just see. This is the river Ganga, yeah.
Generally, we know that Ganga flows from Himalayas.
Yes.
So, is there any way you can show us where would be Himalayas placed in this?
See, these rivers are humongous rivers. So when you see this Ganga River, the shape of the size of the Ganga River, you would think it's an ocean. Yeah. So what we currently call Ganga is probably a small tributary of the original Ganga.
Really?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. It's a huge, humongous river. Because these dimensions, remember, this Jambu Deep is 100,000 yojans. So 1 yojan is 4,000 miles. So so 100,000 times 4,000, that's the total diameter of Jambu Deep. So these are huge, humongous areas.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this Ganga and the current Ganga which we know would be different? You just said tributary, it could be different even, there is a doubt about that?
Well, I can give you the answer when I achieve Keval Gnan, because my answer...
And I won't see you, sorry, or you won't have a strength to talk.
Okay, so
anyway,
I'll try...
my another question before, she pinches the microphone.
Sure, yeah. Don't touch the microphone.
Please, can you tell us why you didn't say anything about Airavat Kshetra? You didn't talk about Airavat at all.
Because they've only given me 50 minutes for the talk. If they've given me 2 hours, I will do it.
No, but no mention even. So, I mean, there is so much ignorance. Otherwise, we know that we have Mavide, we have Bharat Kshetra and Airavat.
Yeah, we touched upon Airavat Kshetra. We saw it in red here. This is the area here. This is Airavat Kshetra at the top here.
Where are, where are 5? So I would like to know, but if there is no time, then that's fine.
No. Let me show you quickly. So we've seen Bharat Kshetra. The formation of Airavat Kshetra it's exactly the same, but it's in the north. It's a mirror image.
So yes. Mirror image.
It's a mirror image. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah.
Any more questions? Do we have time for any more questions?
We have one at the back. I'm quite happy to take questions. Depends how much time you have. Yeah, go on, please.
With mic, without mic, I hope I'm loud enough. I would like to say first and foremost, that's an excellent presentation.
Thank you.
I certainly enjoyed it.
Thank you.
I would say being a Jain, I've come across, I would say a lot of presentations, but you have made it very simple, explained very nicely. I've got 2 questions here. The first and foremost, I would say, is the whole presentation and what we look at the Jain, I would say, like cosmology. Is it very sort of Indocentric? is it not something, is there some way we can relate it to the global map which is there currently in some shape or form?
No.
Because we are seeing everything relating more focus to India out here from the way I look at it. In fact, that is one. And two, I would say, yes, no doubt that you said the Jain mathematics and everything is very good, it helps.
Yeah.
And I'll talk about myself, my kids, and perhaps others also in this audience will also, in fact, sort of relate to it. We have tried our best to groom our children into the Jain philosophy, teach them Gujarati, but it is a challenge.
Of course.
And if Jainism has to move forward and all this Jain mathematics, cosmology,
Yes.
isn't it something that many of these books which are there that you have,
Yes.
those blessed books out there, needs to be translated
Yes.
in English,
Yes.
and the English which, in fact, our children can learn,
Yes.
and try to make sure that Jainism survives
Yes.
this century also.
Yeah, but you can't understand everything in English either. You have to go back to your source, really, because some of the words are very difficult to translate into English. ને તમે ગુજરાતી તમારા માતૃભાષા તમને નહીં આવડે તો તમે શું શીખશો ઇંગ્લિશમાં આવીને કેટલું આવશે જેવું ભાવ હિન્દીમાં ગુજરાતીમાં આપણે જે મૂળ જે આચાર્યનું તમે ભલે સંસ્કૃત ન શીખો ભલે તમે પ્રાકૃત ન શીખો બટ જેટલી બધી બુક્સ અવેલેબલ છે they are available in Gujarati and in Hindi. So learning Hindi and Gujarati, it's not difficult at all. I know many people who have been brought up in the West. They started learning Hindi and Gujarati when they were in their 40s, and they now manage to read the scriptures. It's not impossible. છોકરાઓને પહેલા ગુજરાતીમાં સિખાડો, ગુજરાતી સિખાડો, હિન્દી સિખાડો અને ગુજરાતી અને હિન્દીમાં એમનું વાંચન સિખાડો તો આગળ વધશે. તમે હિન્દીમાં કરવા જાશો બધું સુપરફિશિયલ થઈ જશે ઇંગ્લિશમાં. So, Kirit Bhai છે તમને ટ્રાન્સલેટ કરી દેશે. That's a job for you, Kirit Bhai. So your first question was, how do you relate this to the modern world? Yes. So yeah. So I tried to preempt that already. કે બે બોટલ પીને જે લખે છે થીસિસ કે લોક આવો છે તમે એને માનશો કે જે સર્વજ્ઞ વિતરાગ અરિહંત ભગવાન છે એને માનશો. બોલી અરિહંત ભગવાનનો.
The question about Indocentric, where is the present world? So if you look at the Arya Khand, the whole world that we are depicting, that is kind of there. So when we say Ganga and Sindhu and everything, those are very, they are given, different names are given, But what we are showing over here is a huge things are there. So in the Arya Khand, there is a center part, if you just see some of the pictures, that the present world has been shown, So if you just look at the whole room full of area, and you put one small tiny dot, that dot is a world, the present day world, and the whole universe is huge.
Thank you. Sorry, just one more question, sorry.
Okay, sure. Yes.
We've only got time for just one question, sorry.
It was in a similar vein to what these gentlemen were talking about. I was just trying to understand what you
Yes.
meant. So the galaxies that we learn about at school,
Yes.
is it fair to say, as this gentleman had said, that it all kind of fits into Arya Khand and that's how we should think about it? Or is it a completely different paradigm that we should be thinking
What I would say is forget it. Don't even try.
Okay.
The two will not marry. The two will not marry. It's very difficult to marry the two together. So I would say don't even try. જે કેવળ જ્ઞાન ભગવાનના જ્ઞાનમાં આવ્યું છે એટલીસ્ટ એટલું વિશ્વાસ કરીને આગળ વધો.
So the things that the stars you see in the sky.
Well, no. The stars have a place, of course. They're the celestial beings. The abode of the celestial beings, the Devgati, they're the stars. The star.
I'll come back and I'll
No,
speak
because
to that.
do remember, this was just a very basic basic outline of Jain cosmology, there's tons and tons of stuff in here which I've not told you about. I mean, I could spend another hour talking about the stars and the moon. So I can show you stars in the daytime. You don't have to wait till nighttime.
I'd like to know what you're going to have for that.
Sorry?
Sorry, just on a lighter note. I said to see stars during daytime.
Yeah, you read the scriptures. Read the scriptures. They'll show you how many stars there are. How many stars there are in the island of Jambudweep. How many stars there are in the next ocean, the next island. It's all detailed here. Here.
My apologies, it was just on a lighter
No, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Of course.
Sorry, we've actually run out of time, and this is such an interesting lecture.
You checking me out? Checking me out?
I'm so sorry. We have to say one thing though. Something by saying that Shital actually does a couple of Zoom sessions.
So, Jain, there are two things on the map of the universe. There's one map on the ground floor, but there is a very intricate map if you climb up the stairs. There's some subtle difference between the heavens, but please do look at it because they're really, really detailed maps. Secondly, if you liked Shital Bhai's lecture, he actually runs Zoom classes twice a week on Wednesday and Friday. And if you sort of write to us at mahavirjaintemple.com, then we can give you the information. But he's quite friendly and informative. So please join us, there at the temple. Thank you.
So can we keep him a round of applause? Thank you, Shital. Thank you. That's great. Thank you. So thank you again, Shital, for this incredible insight into the world of Jain cosmology. I'm sure you were all fascinated about the subject as much as I was. And who knew that so early on in 143 AD, they were talking about pi and algorithms and logarithms and all of that. I personally think that they should bring these kind of subjects into A-level maths because they'll learn a lot more than they currently do. But anyway, so our next session, actually we will be bringing on in a couple of minutes, is the Guide to the Pure Soul exhibition by Dr. Helene de Jonquière. It will start in a few minutes. So if you please remain in your seats and we'll get it started in a couple of minutes.
It's a video. It needs to be a PowerPoint. Because it's a video, then it loops. But never mind. We just need to make sure this is sharp.
Yeah, we need to shut every time. Yeah, let's shut any time. What was it? Yeah, maybe it's easier for just.
Jai Jinendra, everyone. If I can please ask you all to sit down. We're about to start the next session. Can I just ask again, I didn't mention in the morning before Shital's talk, was if you have a mobile phone, can you please make sure it's on silent? And if you do get a chance today, please do visit the exhibition, the Pure Soul exhibition, because it is actually incredible, and you'll see a lot of scriptures and pictures there as well. It's over 3 floors, so don't just visit the main floor as you enter. There is a upper floor and a lower ground floor as well, so please do visit all 3 floors. Do you need to
Don't
sit up?
worry, I just need to sign in.
Okay. You're going to have a presentation, right?
Don't worry. Okay, I cannot see this. This is great.
You need to move into that screen. Do you need to download it?
I think it's easier.
Okay. Great. Okay. So Jayanendra again, everyone. Our next session is a guide to the Pure Soul exhibition. Our speaker for this session is Dr. Helene de Jonquière. She's a co-curator of the Pure Soul exhibition and a lecturer of South Asian religions here at SOAS. She received her PhD from Ghent University in Belgium in December 2020 and continued her work at the University of Chicago and University of Toronto. At SOAS, she researches Jain literature and history in pre-modern India and teaches South Asian religions, literatures and languages. Her main research focus is the history of translation and adaptation, including language status in the Jain tradition. She has published several articles and has been involved in the edition of several volumes, and at present she is preparing a book manuscript, The Never-Ending Test, on the Dharmapariksha tradition. So please, everyone, welcome to the stage, Dr. de Jonquière.
Hi, thank you very much for this very kind introduction. So, about that biography of mine, if anyone knows the Dharmapariksha, I would love to know how you know it, because it's, I mean, if you know it, because it makes my research more tangible today. So, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so because I'm born in Jain family,
Yeah.
I'm aware how to progress in the scriptures that every human being or it will inbuilt your way of life eventually. So it will happen in stages rather than all in one go.
Mm-hmm.
So similar to what we do for an academic degree, you process that equally if you're interested in it.
Yeah, indeed. Thank you for that. If anyone else has something to say, you can contact me later or via email. Anyway, but I don't want to keep you from having sort of introduction to the exhibition, because that's what I'm here for. I'm going to take you through some slides to show what we have, but I mean, the slides do not really show the real tangible material that we have just next door, or upstairs as well. So do go there. But I also want to show you how we kind of not conceived, but perceived the exhibition, because the conception happened before I was at SOAS a year ago or more than a year ago. And then there's several people in this room that we need to thank for that as well. So the Pure Soul is the title of the exhibition because that's the focus of the exhibition. And as you can read on the opening panel, and I hope you agree with me that the quest for the Pure Soul is what brings all Jain traditions together. Whatever approach you take to Jainism, the Pure Soul is the end goal to have a better rebirth or reach liberation. Not at the moment, but hopefully in some future. This is the academic side of it. It shows a table produced by Bhatt in 1972, where he went through the text by Kunda Kunda, this Samayasara, this famous Prakrit text, and where he differentiated between a mystical pattern in the text and a non-mystical pattern. And this will then relate to the next table. But the mystical pattern is the focus of this exhibition. It presents a path towards self-realization, which involves a realization that we are not living in a conventional world. This is how we translate Vyavahara. We are not living in a conventional world, but instead we need to understand that the true perspective to this world is Nishchaya, is the absolute perspective, Nishchaya Naya, in which the jiva is understood as being pure rather than being involved with this world, with rebirth in this world, samsara. Bhat then understands some parts of Kunda Kunda's text as being non-mystical and showing a pattern of Jainism where, in fact, jiva and ajiva are seen as actually truly interacting, but in a way that you can say that, okay, jiva in its non-absolute state is a sort of modified version, undergoes modifications, and it is these modifications by which we can say it is involved with samsara. So different terms. I mean, I'm not sure in which way this audience is familiar with these terms, but I did want to show you this difference. And you see another table here. This is a table made by Peter Flügel. You'll find this table also in the book, where he compares views by Bhatt on classical Jaina philosophy with those of Johnson and proposes his own. So we understand the exhibition as focusing on the bottom part in bold, showing traditions, Jaina traditions that see the jiva as real and ajiva as real, and jiva as active, but the interaction between both as illusory. And so the idea is to understand that this interaction between the soul, the pure soul, and the material world is illusory. Whereas, that's this mystical pattern, right? Whereas classical Jaina philosophy proposes a model in which the interaction between material and the pure soul is actually real. It's not illusory. So there are different paths that we as scholars discern within the broader Jaina tradition. We show them both, but the focus is the spiritual tradition, or the spiritual path. This spiritualism can be reflected by some quotes from thinkers that are presented in the exhibition. Kunda Kunda, Srimad Rajchandra, and Kanji Swami. In the exhibition, you will find Srimad Rajchandra on the top floor and Kanji Swami on the bottom floor. But they all say that it is necessary for us to understand the true self as not involved really with karma, with the material world. You see that Srimad Rajchandra focuses also on the true guru, whereas Kanji Swami focuses on understanding it yourself. So then, again, to show you some dichotomies, the background of this exhibition, what do we want to show? Whereas our focus is on the pure soul and traditions that focus on the pure soul, we also show the others, so the classical versus the spiritual traditions. We show Digambara versus Shvetambara traditions. I'm sure you're familiar with that. Kunda Kunda was a Digambara philosopher. And we show iconic versus aniconic traditions. So we show traditions that have beautiful icons that are worshipped and venerated. And then we show traditions that do not worship these beautiful icons, but appreciate them nevertheless. And so the exhibition starts with this image. This is actually not the image we have, but it's a similar image The Siddha image, the enlightened being who has accomplished this pure soul, is empty, you know. It's unattached from any matter. It's an empty image. As you move on, you will understand, and you know this, I know you know, you will understand that these Siddhas reside in a very detailed depicted cosmography of the Jaina tradition, richly illustrated and with deep, detailed calculations. And this is a depiction of the cosmography from the V&A on cloth. It's quite impressive that you will see. And Siddhas, these Siddhas that I just showed, reside, of course, on the top, above this half moon. The rest, as I'm also sure you know, are hells, 7 hells at the bottom. Then the Madhya Loka, where we, as human beings, reside. And then on top there are heavens with celestial beings. There's quite a few heavens, more than 30, but I didn't include the calculation because it's 30 plus something, so I thought I'll just drop those numbers. So that, yeah, you meet the Siddha and you meet where the Siddha resides and where we reside, and then you understand that the meaning or the goal is to go upwards on this column. We then start off with showing you the iconic traditions. The goal is to show you the diversity, but to end with the big moment, the central focus on the spiritual traditions. So we start with the iconic traditions, and you'll probably first encounter straight ahead these Shvetambara bronzes, Jain bronzes, that were produced from about the 11th until the 19th century, so for a long time. And the main images we have today are from between the 14th and the 16th century. The ones you will see, if I'm not mistaken, all of them from Norwich Museum, a bit north of London, near the coast, the east coast. And they show these Jain bronzes, and they have nice inscriptions telling us where they come from, which date they are from, etc. Many of these Jain bronzes are found in museums today, also in galleries, in private collections. Perhaps a juicy detail is that around the 19th century, these bronzes were mass-produced in India, so that we have several copies that are, from an art historical point of view, not really valuable. They were produced in factories and copied with fake inscriptions, etc. And apparently there's also museums that have bought these mass-produced images, but the ones we have seem to be not mass-produced, so that's quite nice to know. Then we have this, someone last week mentioned the value of the insurance of the statue. Yeah, it's quite high. Let me not repeat that. The statue of the V&A as well, of a Parshvanath image, which Nick last week talked about, how it was found and how specific its imagery is, that in the sense that it's not super ornamented. Ornamentation is more restrained or restricted. It's made out of what stone? Schist stone. That's what he said. They found out last week, and it dates to the 13th to 14th century. The image was found in Karnataka by a colonial, Colin Mackenzie, in Gersopa, which is a place now in coastal Karnataka. Nick also told us, for those of you who were here last week, that although it was found in Gersopa, coastal Karnataka, it seems to have come originally, according to the inscription, which you will clearly see in the exhibition room, comes from Yelborga, which was not coastal Karnataka, but more northern central Karnataka. And that seemed to be a place where this style of icon was more common, this less ornamented style in this specific stone around that period. From the Jain historical point of view, which is also so interesting to me, because one of these Dharma Pariksha texts I study comes exactly from this period, and it's a polemical text that attacks Virashaivas. So what seems to have been the case at Yelburga is that this statue was brought to Gersukpa, was moved to Gersukpa because of the threat from Virashaivas and other Shaivik, mostly Shaivik, and some Vaishnava communities that were gaining power at that time. So the Jains were losing this power and had to move to a place where they were more safe to practice their tradition. And this text I read is involved with this as well, this kind of criticism and this polemics with the Shaivas. The picture, the drawing is from maybe Mackenzie or someone in his environment to draw out the image they had and to present it, of course, to the British Empire, who then indeed decided to bring it here to London. So we saw two iconic images from both Shvetambara Digambara tradition. And the exhibition also wants to show you some innovative research, challenging established ideas about Jain sectarianism, Jain communities throughout the history. And pictures you will see from Thilo de Tige's research involve the Bhattaraka memorials. I think you know what Bhattarakas are, but Bhattarakas today exist only in South India, and they are ascetics who are temple managers, temple dwellers. They live in the temples. They do not roam around like most ascetics do. They are also not naked, as most Digambara ascetics are, but wear dresses. Now, Thilo de Tige has shown with his research on memorials that in North India too, there were Bhattarakas, and for a much longer period than we thought there were before. So now we notice that up to a relatively late time, these Bhattarakas in North India existed and were revered. Otherwise, there would not be these wonderful statues, these wonderful memorials to them. The memorials are for deceased Bhattaraks. Digambara side. Again, we go to the Shvetambara side and we show some other challenging, innovative research about ascetic lineages. And this is about yatis. I don't know if you know what yatis are. Ascetic yatis, that is, not trustees. Okay, can someone tell me? Because maybe I'll learn something. You don't know? I'm not sure who's saying yes, okay. Yeah. Yes. So, today, if you go to Gujarat, for example, you'll meet yatins, and they are often, maybe someone here is often trustees of a specific temple and the management thereof. And this is a lay person. But these ascetic yatis is a tradition of ascetics from the Shvetambara side who, just like Bhattaraks, were allowed to stay in the same place for a certain time, use trains and cars. Just like you see on one of these pictures. And they were different from some Vegi ascetics, and also challenged for that reason. Again, this type of ascetics that is not accepted by everyone. So what you see is that in the 20th century there was a strong decline, up to the point that I think it's Peter Flügel who wrote in 2008 that there's only one yati left. So the tradition might die out, but apparently there are new initiations into this yati lineage. So we have Moriarty's again. So they were allowed to travel, they were allowed to stay in the same place, have some management functions, and also they function as healers. So this you see in the middle picture, they function as Ayurvedic medicine healers. So they have, in this sense, a sort of power, you know, a sort of spiritual power perhaps to help people with their health. So that's another innovative point you will see in the exhibition. As a scholar, I'm quite proud of this because, you know, these colleagues of mine who study this are really doing very innovative research, very creative research, and it will change our field of study. So the fact that we can show this makes me quite happy. You move on, so after seeing this, you will move on to the Blue Room, which is in the back of the exhibition on the ground floor. And you can see in detail the different types of dresses of different traditions. I'm only showing you here the Therapant tradition with the nuns on the one hand and also the Mumukshus, who is an initiation, early stage Therapanti, Samani there. But in the exhibition room you'll see the other dresses of the Kartargach as well. So also Shvetamra lineage of the Digambaras, Lunkagacha, etc. So I think that's a place where you can really, you know, look in detail what there is to see, how people, how different dresses are depicted. Maybe you know all these, maybe you don't, and maybe you're just familiar with one type, so you see there's some variety. From the Blue Room, you will move on towards, I mean, this is what I hope you will do, towards the staircase. At the staircase, you see a painting, beautiful painting of Kunde Kunde and his paduka, his feet. And then you can, I would suggest you go up. Upstairs, where you will see another cosmographic image, which is a print of a painting in a Delhi, I think it's a Delhi manuscript library, sorry? Yes, Lal Mandir, okay, yeah, indeed. You go up and then you will find two traditions in the upstairs gallery. One is Srimad Rajchandra, the other one is Taran Swami. And outside too, you will see an image of Srimad Rajchandra, and this is in the garden, the Zen garden of Soas. So we try to, you know, interact with other religious traditions here by presenting him there. So this is Taran Swami. Last week, too, I don't think this gentleman is here today, but he presented the literature of Taran Swami. He was a 15th century thinker, philosopher, who read these books by Kunde Kunde and Amrita Chandra, this Samayasara, and who thought about it himself and produced his own texts based on that. The texts he wrote were written in a language that is quite interesting, because it seems to be some sort of vernacular, but not the vernacular we know from that time, which would be early Gujarati or early Hindi, or even Abhibramsh. No, it's something not exactly that, which is quite interesting from the linguistic point of view. Taran Swami seems to have written in his own language. He may not have been so well educated in the classical languages, who knows, but he was definitely capable of understanding what it was about. He advocated, of course, reaching the pure soul, but not by means of iconic worship. Instead, his temples that are established in North India present book altars, so there's a veneration of the book, which we see in different Indic traditions. Pilgrimage is important as well, so you see here some pictures of these beautiful temples. We show you a book altar to express this tradition. Oh, this is not the right. And then on the other side of that upstairs gallery, you will find pictures of Srimad Rajchandra. as well as a statue of him. So it's not this statue. I'm showing you some images that we have in the published volume. Srimad Rajchandra was known by Gandhi, who was fond of his writings. Says he was a great thinker, great philosopher. And he was an exceptionally smart man. He read from a very early age difficult texts and understood them, and was asked also in his early 20s to teach people about this. So he did. And part of his teaching was to follow a true guru. He said a true guru is essential to understand the true nature of reality, and to reach this goal of ours. He has different beautiful sayings, and one of them I showed you before, to understand this goal and the importance of the path to follow in terms of his path of Jainism. After these two spiritual traditions, you can come downstairs, contemplate upon what you just saw, and then go downstairs, follow our gurus. There will be a long picture painting alongside the staircase. Follow those to come to the biggest room, which is the room dedicated to Kanji Swami. I don't think I need to tell you, but the statue you'll see is the statue of Kanji Swami and not of Gandhi, which seems to be something people think. But this gallery is dedicated to him because, of course, this exhibition was made possible by the Global Kanji Swami Association. So it's important to clearly and truthfully present what he did to the Jain tradition. Once you go in, you can choose kind of where you go, but if you go towards the left side, you will find many pictures of Kanji Swami and his life. For those who do not know, Kanji Swami was born into a Shvetambara family and initiated as a Sthanakvasi monk, but read Kunda Kunda, and understood that there's more in life than performing rituals, etc. So he took the path, he left the ascetic community, became a spiritual man, but not as an ascetic, and taught people, as a Digambara ascetic as well, and taught people how to reach this pure soul, and that is actually the essential path to take. So here you see two pictures. You'll see many more in our gallery. And then you can, from that place, you can move on and to find these paintings that were created at Songad for an art camp, wherein different Indian artists were invited to read and to engage with the teachings of Kanji Swami, but also Amrita Chandra, Pujapada, etc., to create this new art form, which is, again, I think it's a great project to ask modern artists to engage with spiritual teachings and to depict religion not in this traditional iconic way, but in a new form, in a new aesthetic way, which is great and interesting. So here are two of the images you will find. Well, one is a statue, and the other one is a painting you will see reproduced in the gallery. Again, roam around, I would say, and I hope the experience is also sort of contemplative experience, not just I'm here to gain information about this exhibition. I hope it's more like a embodied experience. To then go upstairs again, where we leave you with manuscripts and printed books from London collections, most importantly from SOAS, as well as the Royal Asiatic Society. And And these show, amongst others, this Kalpa Sutra, which was published by John Stevenson. This is one of the earliest printed texts from the Jaina tradition. It's also quite interesting how this process, this shift from manuscripts to printed books started. It seems to have been first by Western scholars, but Jains also started to produce their texts in print. With some reluctance, because manuscripts are still produced today, actually, but from a very important part of Jain heritage and Jain tradition. If you turn around, you'll also see maps, which complicates a little bit our picture of Jain sectarian traditions, locations, geographical mapping. This is all linked to this fantastic Jaina prosopography project started by Peter Flügel with cooperation with many institutions in India, where the traditions are mapped, people involved, times, etc. And this database is going to be very important for the coming years for Jaina studies. So again, this scholarly perspective. Besides maps, we also show you throughout the exhibition certain movies. And the most important one is the one that was produced for the opening of this exhibition by Chouette Films, in which we show an exceptional image of Kanji Swami tradition from different perspectives, from insiders and outsiders, and take the time to look at this as well. So that's for my part of the kind of introduction to the gallery. I hope this gives you some insight into how we perceive the exhibition and how you can move through it as well. There's more text material in the exhibition that you can read should you want to. And there's also an exhibition book about which Peter will talk, apparently. So does anyone have any questions? Yes, Ariev?
Sorry, perhaps it's a naive question, but what's the difference between a yati and...
Okay, so Muni is a title, well, so I'm looking at Peter as well. A Muni is a title for a monk in general, not only for Jain monks, but it's also a title specific to Digambara traditions. And I'm not sure, is it used for Shvetambaras as well, Muni? As a title? Okay, yeah, okay.
Actually, Mahavira said there are fourfold sects: householders, male, female, and mendicants, male and female.
Mm-hmm.
But then lot more things got inserted as the time passed by. And so the yatis are the householders, but then they profess that they can take care of the religion, shrines and everything. So those are the things inserted afterward, but mainly when Mahavira suggested it was only fourfold, it's called Chaturvid Sangh, means a fourfold reign of population. Okay. So Yati falls into the householder stage, and probably well, Peter is coming up. He can talk more about it. I will say something else, but yeah.
Well, yeah.
Well, I just want to support Helene here in answering. I mean, the Yati means also monk, but the meaning has changed after the division between Samvegi and Yatis within the Tapagacha. So the Yatis were monks which were like the Chaityavasins. They didn't move a lot, they used vehicles and so on. They didn't follow the rules that strictly anymore, and then there was a reform movement and they split. So the meaning of Yati has changed, but they were not householders. They initiated, they're brahmacharins and so on, but they followed the rules a little bit less strictly than in the agamas prescribed. Now,
Eric Villalobos, a former MA student here. He's done fantastic research on this. It's the first study ever. He's now in Atlanta, and his research is displayed there. Let me do a little bit of it. And, well, you're the first to see it, in a way. So it's absolutely great. There are fuel still left in Bikaner and a few other places, but mostly they have died out. It's very, very interesting. Hot from the research cutting edge. And on the other hand, Tilu Detike's research about the samadhis and so on, this is also has never been studied. It's fantastic research. You see it here for the first time.
You might meet him this afternoon. Yeah, he's not here yet, but he was supposed to come. Yes?
Second slide of a mystic and non-mystic background.
Yeah, I tried to introduce this complicated, this one, or the other one. Yeah.
When you say on this right-hand side, self-reformer, nishchay nahi, swaka bhav. What is the swaka bhav? It's actually, if I'm understanding correctly, it's a swabhav bhav. But I don't know, maybe Peter can also tell what was that swaka bhav, because that's not a word that I came across in Jain literature, so. Yeah, so Parabhav means it should be Swabhav, but then I don't know, if we are introducing new word, we should be careful because it's not Swaka, it's a Swak.
Well, it's from a particular text, and this table is obviously taken from an article from Bhatt, Bansidhar Bhatt, and he contrasted these two terms following a source. So there are variations of terms which often are synonymous.
Yeah. But then when you
so
say...
the distinction is between Swaka and Para, obviously.
Yeah, but when you say Bhatt was 1972, when we are talking about Swabhav and Parabhav from 2000 years back, so I don't know whether I should believe Bhatt or I should believe the original literature.
If I may make a suggestion here, I hope I'm not wrong, but so in Prakrit there's a very often an addition of a ya. And then ya would be ka in Sanskrit. So you could do svaya, which is svaka, but it's the same as sva.
It's not true.
Okay.
To my knowledge.
Okay. Any other? Yes? It's stone. Yeah, it's fantastic that you mentioned this because Nick also said last week it's highly polished, and this polished look, it gives the look as if it is metal, but it's not. It's stone. Yes?
The whole Jain philosophy is based on swar and pa.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as we get a distortion or addition of a word, the whole religion, I think, gets distorted. As the gentleman pointed out, so you have to be very careful in adding new words to the main hardcore principles of Jainism.
Now, of course, this table by Bhatt bases himself on the work of Kunde, and we must understand in the Jaina tradition there are different languages used throughout the ages. With the different languages, there's also different editions of manuscripts too. So very often, what you might come across is modernized, let's say, cleaned up versions of these terms that might have had their variants in the past.
As you explained, it originated from Krakow.
Yeah.
Religion also read from the same language. But as we went to Gujarati or Hindi or whatever, the hardcore meaning or the word doesn't change and shouldn't change.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I could come here with a sort of anti-Vedic explanation, which is very scholarly, but I mean, what you say, yes, you know, these words are central and you should hold on to them. With this table, I just wanted to kind of probe you a little bit into this scholarly perspective that we try to translate in the exhibition. That's all. Thank you.
So, thank you, Dr. de Jonker. I'd like to welcome Dr. Peter Frugel just to talk about the book for a few minutes.
Yes, we agreed to have an impromptu book launch here because few people have realized probably that the SOAS bookshop is distributing, that means selling, this companion volume to the exhibition, which has fantastic articles on all sorts of aspects, including these tables here, which you just discussed passionately. And just to read to you a few names which are all very famous in Jaina studies nowadays: Nalini Balbir, Piotr Balcerovitz, Nick Barnard, you heard his talk, Shivani Botra, John Cord, Helene, Thilo Detige, Richard Fiennes, you saw him at the conference, Dharmchand Jain, Patrick Krüger, Jerome Petit, you saw him, Samani Pratipapagya, Ashik Shah, here from London, Priyanka Shah, Kalpana Shet, Corinne Smith, and Renate Sörenthime, Eric Villalobos, we just talked about him, and Professor Clifford Wright. So it's a fantastic book, it's richly illustrated as well, and I can only recommend it. And by way of ceremony, I would like to invite our collaborators and co-sponsors Sandeep and Nikhil here, Kirit here on the stage, and I would like to hand 2 copies over to them. One after the other. So we're taking nice photos of this, I hope. So this is for you.
Thank you.
And this one is for Kirit.
Do I pay for this?
No. But you can get them through Amazon and things like that. But
Thank you very much.
Produced by SOAS. And this is what remains after the exhibition. So if you want to read more about it, there it is. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. It's an incredible, actually, how much time and effort has been spent on bringing this Pure Soul exhibition together. And it also coincides with the Centre of Jaina Studies celebrating 20 years at SOAS. I'd like to thank Dr. de Jonker sharing her wonderful insights into the exhibition as well. If you haven't seen the exhibition, please, I do encourage you to go to have a look today. It's over 3 floors, like Dr. de Jonker said. And also, please be sure to tell your friends and family to come and visit. It's on until the 25th of June. Our next session is on Jains in the West by Dr. Bindi Shah, which will be starting at 1:25 promptly. There is food being served for purchase in the main entrance if you'd like to purchase some food. If the weather's good, I don't know what it's like outside at the moment, but you're welcome to eat outside or in the lobby area just down here. And we will see you after the lunch break. Thank you.
if somebody said the right person was not running around, just make sure. Because I could see she's a scholar. उसका क्या काम है?
I don't